Sunrise Extra. We know there's a lot of streaming stuff going on today with the impeachment vote happening. You can watch that also on our Facebook page and other social platforms. If you don't want to watch that, welcome. Thank you for finding us.
We'd like to give you choices here at KGW Media Group.
So we have
the Media Group.
Media Group.
Shall I get behind the table?
Big topics today.
Let's all squeeze in like a family.
Oh yeah, everybody.
So the first up is longtime KGW reporter Pat Doris has been working for several months on this documentary called Power Struggle, and it's really on our electricity and energy use coming up in the next 5 years. So both Governor Jay Inslee and Kate Brown have decided to shut down the coal plants in Oregon and Washington. That will happen in the next 5 years because of environmental concerns.
Yep.
The concern now is, and Pat has gone to Boardman over in Eastern Oregon to look at these coal plants. He's looked at wind power, hydropower, and solar. And he has talked to all the experts in this story who say there is not enough of that renewable energy to get us to have our normal electricity. When you flip the lights on, you want your hot water when you want it. So there's going to be a gap where rolling blackouts will happen. He said one in 1 year, and then in 6 years, after these coal plants completely shut down, we're going to face rolling blackouts.
If nothing changes, if they don't figure something out.
Right. Because right now we just don't have enough power to cover everyone.
Yeah.
So we were asking, is it worth it? You know, for the environmental concerns, are you okay with the rolling blackouts as long as now there's not coal production? I mean, this affects jobs. It's very political. It's very
well, and the code for rolling blackouts is if we get into a spell of an inversion where temperatures are in the 20s for a run of nights, and an inversion, you have calm winds. You could be looking at several nights in the middle of January where you don't have any heat. That's what a rolling blackout
could mean,
potentially. Not just can't turn the lights on. No, we could have
heating homes.
And honestly, that turns into a, well, we use the word crisis a lot in the media, but that's a crisis if you have no heat in the middle of January for several nights.
And maybe this is because this is what I mean. I feel like all that build-up, for example, for the solar eclipse when that came, and we had all this hype. We saw it come. We talked about the anticipation. This is one of those things like, wow, we've not been talking about this at all. This is real,
and it's coming.
This could impact a lot of people in negative ways. And I get understand there could be a positive here when it comes to the environment, but it's just one of those stories where, thank goodness Pat did this. It's out there right now. The piece is long, but you're like, the whole time you're watching it, it's riveting because you're learning about things that I didn't know a lot about when it comes to this situation. Anyways, the point is this. We have this story out there right now. We want our viewers to chime in. Now that we're putting it all out on the table, are you still okay with this idea of getting rid of the coal plants, knowing that we could have some serious electrical issues come not just next year, but in the years following?
Right, and I mean, now it's actually up on our YouTube page. So Pat's entire piece, which is what, like 20 some odd minutes long? Yeah, that's up on our YouTube page. And we also have a talkback. I mean, I don't know if that's pulled up or not, Nina, the talkback you had.
Yeah, producer Celeste. I don't know if we have that. Okay, we're working on it. I just want to read a couple comments on Twitter from people, because people were having some really thoughtful responses to our question. So Ramona White says, this is an interesting situation. I've lived in Vancouver, Washington, and Rock Springs, Wyoming. Two polar opposites, right? And have seen both ends of the issue. Wyoming's economy would benefit, and Washington's, but people have been traumatized by coal train stories. We've heard of those explosions happening. Soldier 730 on Twitter says, investment in the future is worth shutting down the coal industry and suffering rolling blackouts. What better way to tell corporations that we want a better future for our future generation? And kind of same with on Facebook as well. We want to show you, I talked with Pat Doris yesterday. His special is 18 minutes long. Gone are the days where we make you wait until 6:30 tonight. If you happen to be on TV and you want to watch it then, it's on. It's on our YouTube channel right now. It's on kgw.com. Please watch it. Here's a preview of what his story is about. Pat, your series is called Power Struggle, and you have been traveling across the state to really delve into this because this is a really highly charged political and environmental topic. What have you been kind of learning about the consequences of when these coal plants shut down?
Well, first of all, it's going to affect every one of us. Whether you like them or hate them, you're going to feel the impact. It's going to be good for the environment. Clearly, the coal plants going away going to help out. Boardman, for example, pumps out about 1.5 million metric tons of carbon dioxide each year. That's not great. But the other impact is something that not a lot of us are thinking about. We actually may not have enough electricity when coal goes away. Tonight at 6:30, we're going to take a look at what that means and what happens with coal plants around the West. Spoiler, they're losing ground to those who worry about their pollution. And the governors of Oregon and Washington, they are definitely behind the push to shut them down.
The future is not in coal, and we have moved past it. We're past coal.
Yes, and we're moving forward towards a non-carbonized economy.
Okay, so they're obviously on board.
Yep.
Wind, solar, hydro, it all sounds great.
Yeah.
It is great.
Yeah.
But let's focus on that gap between coal and those because that stuff is not enough.
Right. Coal is dependable, so they can turn the switch and have the electricity come out. When you're dealing with renewables, not always so much. And there is a serious question now about whether we'll have enough electricity in 5 or 6 years when coal goes away. Wind farms, for example, only produce their full power about 30% of the time or less. I was really surprised to learn that. Some government projections show we'll be in a bit of a danger for blackouts a year from now and much bigger chance 6 years from now.
So, Pat, this is, I mean, you said the word blackout.
Yeah.
I had not really heard of this before. I mean, you always think of like, let's find a more renewable energy source than coal and gas and all that. But blackouts, that gets my attention.
It's not really been a serious issue in our lifetimes, except very briefly in 2000 and 2001 when there was a shortage because of a drought and they were able to avert those blackouts. But now there's an issue looming on the future, and we want to tell this story so that people are at least aware of what the possibilities are. And the utilities are grappling with this right now, so it's going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out.
And it affects every single one of us.
Absolutely.
All right, Pat, your full series runs tonight at 6:30. Be sure to join us for that. Thank you so much.
You bet.
So interesting.
And again, you can watch that right now on KGW.com. You don't have to wait, or on our YouTube channel. I want to go to some Facebook comments that people were sharing. Sorry to totally dominate this conversation. Will you scroll down to the next one? Because that one's pretty specific to Ben. There we go. Susan Matney says, if there's not enough power, then we really have no choice to be upset about rolling blackouts. I don't understand why every single new home being built, at least in Central Oregon, doesn't have solar panels and solar water. We were all warned about this decades ago. Trace says, as the rest of the world utilizes renewable sources to the point they have excess, America prefers the dark ages, literally and figuratively. What do you guys think?
I like the one about, it's a coding issue to me. I would love to see us look at making new construction coded for solar panels. I've wondered why myself for quite a while why there hasn't been a bigger push to do that.
Especially since we have one of the biggest manufacturers of solar panels in Hillsboro, Solar World. I mean, there's a whole exhibit at OMSI that explains exactly how that works, and let's put them in the shingles or something, you know, roofing materials or whatever.
Yeah, roofs aren't cheap to begin with without the solar panels.
How long do those solar panels last for, typically? Do we know?
That I don't know.
Okay, because I'm curious about like how long they last for, and then the disposal of such solar panels. I don't know if, you know.
They can just be fixed.
Well, that's true. A lot of the stuff sounds great until you have to dispose of it.
Right. And so I wonder like how great for the environment that would be. But
we have viewers watching us, as they all do every day, on our Facebook feed right now. We say good morning to all of you watching, wherever you may be watching. I'm looking at the Facebook feed at this present time, and the comments range from educated to comedic to annoyed. Let's start with the annoyed one. We love your comments.
Yes.
Hers is the comedic one. She says, "What will we fill the stockings with?"
No coal. I love
seasonal response.
Well, actually, there could be lots of coal by then. Mountains of coal to go pick up just to put in your stocking.
Coal still serves a purpose around Christmas time.
Well, and just to give people an idea, I mean, I looked it up on Oregon.gov, and we in Oregon consume, in terms of electricity, 40% of what we consume is hydroelectric, and right behind that is coal at 31.8, so like 32%. And then, then you've got natural gas at like 17, and wind is much smaller, nuclear is way, 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 way smaller. So, I mean, hydroelectricity, that is what we use most of, but not far behind it all is coal. So it makes sense that, if we were to axe that completely, that resource completely, that we'd potentially be in trouble.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious, between us four, am I naive if I think that, well, the government is going to delay this plan if they don't have everything figured out? They're just going. They can delay it. No, I mean,
we're delaying the I-5 project.
They definitely have a chance to delay it. My point is, I have a hard time believing that our governors are going to leap into this without any of these issues being figured out and really slam us in to what would be dangerous blackouts in the middle of heat waves and cold spells. Am I naive to think that?
Well,
there's lots to figure out here.
It's what you hope will happen.
Yeah.
That they won't press forward until all the pieces are in place.
Are you saying the government thinks of everything?
But how about just last week we had the story of Vancouver, Salem, implementing the new ban on camping on the streets 2 weeks prior to opening up all those new beds. So it's like, sometimes the timing doesn't work out.
Right.
It's a bottom line.
That's a good point.
Okay, next topic. Moving on. This one's a tough one, but I want to kind of talk about it generally.
The last one was tough.
I mean, it was important. This one is
it was tough.
This one is tough in that it involves a case over in Bend of a teenager at Summit High School. I used to live in Bend.
Oh, this is tough. My goodness, I didn't know we were going down this road.
Bend is extremely white. There are very, very few minorities, very, very few African American families in Bend. And this boy's family was from the Bahamas. They moved there, 9 some years ago. And the kid was happy by all accounts, but his parents started noticing changes in his personality. And he started talking to school officials and his parents about some kids at school who he was getting into kind of bullying situations with. Yeah. He started, shutting himself inside his room more, and the dad noticed some issues. He talked to the school about it. The boy talked to the counselors about it. The counselors did not tell the parents that the boy had come to them. Anyway, subsequently, there was some issue with another student there. They were going to have an off-campus fight. That happened. The cops were called. Later that day,
video of that fight was posted on social media channels.
Right. And soon after that, that boy committed suicide. And now the family, this was at least a year ago, now the family is suing the Bend Lapine School District, the county, and 10 students who went to school with this boy at Summit High School because of the bullying issues and lack of telling the parents about everything that was going on. Lindsay Nadrich did a story on this, and it kind of gives you more of a sense of it, and then we'll talk about it after this. Go ahead.
In 2017, 14-year-old Deshaun Adderley died by suicide. He was a freshman at Summit High School in Bend and one of the only African-American students there. His family says he was bullied and harassed to the point that he killed himself. They've now filed a lawsuit seeking $400,000 from the Bend Lapine School District, Deschutes County, and 10 unnamed students who went to school with Deshaun. Their attorney, Brian Donahue, says one of their main goals is to change the culture of bullying and how it's dealt with in the school.
Our number one hope and the hope of the family is frankly for just to put the community and the students and the families of Bend Lapine in a better educational environment, one that's free of intimidation. The allegations of conduct that are in this complaint are not isolated incidents to Bend Lapine. These are things that are going on throughout Oregon and frankly, I think throughout America.
Nationally, suicide is one of the leading causes of death among young people. And according to the CDC, kids who report frequently bullying others and those who are frequently bullied are at an increased risk of suicide-related behavior. There are many organizations working to stop bullying, including one called Stand for Courage that started here in the Northwest. Michael Angus got involved while in high school here in Portland.
We've all been the victim, the bystander, and the bully. And so I think we all need to sort of shift that thinking inside of our heads and that behavior inside of our heads so that we can prevent when things do rise and sort of turn into these massive events that get people's attention.
He says part of changing the culture is making sure kids who witness bullying know what to do.
Well, we encourage kids to actually speak up and talk to the bully and say like, hey, that's not really cool, that's not really funny. I'm openly someone who doesn't join in with the fun that you're having. But any time that you just don't participate in it, that's helping at least. Or if you go and talk to the victim afterwards.
Stand for Courage is a student-led program that can be implemented in any school. We'll post more about it on our website if you want to learn more.
Okay, so I wanted to know, like, do you think, regardless of this very specific situation, do you think lawsuits like this, the family says they want to change the culture, change protocol, does a lawsuit affect the way kids act at school or bullying?
I think it can affect what the policies of the school are. Mm-hmm. I think you make a school district cough up whatever it is, $100 million. I think the school might get a little bit more serious about having non-tolerant policies towards certain behaviors.
Right, because I think I was thinking the way you sort of present the question, is this going to change children's behavior? No.
Yeah,
in my opinion, no. Bullies will be bullies, but to your point, and that's what I wasn't thinking of, schools will start cracking down harder, because I do think a lot of times some kids on the wrong side of this behavior are given too much of a benefit of the doubt. It's not sometimes taken as serious as it should. I mean, if you read the story, and you can go to our website and read the full story of this young man and what he was dealing with, you scratch your head and go, why didn't someone step in? Why didn't an adult step in at some point? I mean, he was pretty clear to several adults in his life, not talking about his parents. He told them, and they were obviously backing their child, but to other. He
went and asked for help.
At the counselor's office, and this stuff continued. He was pretty clear about what he was going to do if they continued. And it happened. The worst thing that could have happened. He took his own life.
And it is so hard, though, in school. I mean, you've got boys, you know, I mean, it's just got to be, but I just wonder, I mean, yes, it will provide, you know, compensation to the family, and it could change protocol, but like kids are the same that they've always been.
That's
I mean, yes,
true.
they're way more, I mean, you were telling me a story that you were worried about.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, when I grew up, you know, I knew about Columbine, you know, growing up in high school and stuff. And I remember, I mean, people would be bullied, and I'd sit there and I could hear them bullying somebody, and I'd actually say, hey, stop, like, stop being mean, because I wouldn't want that kid who was getting bullied to either commit suicide or
like you actually thought about that.
I actually thought about that. That's or bring a gun to school.
Right.
And it's kind of crazy, that it's been so long, but it was a norm for me, and those were the things that I was thinking about even as like a high schooler. But I mean, I agree with Rod's point. At first I was like, yeah, kids aren't going to change, and that's probably true. Kids aren't going to change because, you know, some kids are just mean. But if the school starts really, you know, coming down hard on bullies, or you know, maybe they'll start.
The kids have to speak up. You know, a lot of this happens at the lunch table or in the hallway. There's not an adult to see.
Yeah.
And then you have to be the bigger person if you are being bullied or if you witness it.
Yeah.
To go tell someone. And a lot of kids are just like, oh man, that guy's mean. And then they, you know, like everyone knows it amongst the kids.
But maybe what if the school like facilitated some, you know, programs or something, or a class that says, hey, like, speak up, or anonymous something or other, you know, maybe that would help change kids' minds when they're like, should I speak up, should I not? I don't know.
Yeah, there's always strength in numbers, and if you can, you know, if you can gather together with a group to report an issue, that's always going to help in terms of an individual. For most, you know, 11 through whatever year olds, being that one person on an island is too much to handle.
It's hard.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, you can read more about both of those stories on our website and our Facebook page. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.
No, I would get mad when I was